So once the export is completed, um, you should check the console, make sure there are no errors, and at the very bottom there's the output from the command line converter, and it will tell you if there was an error in that case. Looks like everything's fine here. It'll say like error or something on the first line here, so um, yeah, just watch out for that. Um, to then double check, you go to the project folder that you chose, and it will have exported into the assets folder. So this one I was already working on. Um, Basically, this court base GLB is what was just exported, and you'll see it's 7 MB compared to the 111 megabytes that it was initially before we imported it into Unity. So um, it's a slow process, but it really does make all of this possible by uh, reducing the load on mobile and XR devices. So now let's try the instancing one, because that one's a little more complicated. So you remember we saved this court instance scene. If we open it now on its own, it just has the players floating in space, and we have all our setup is the same. Now, this use basic GLTF converter option, there's an extra step you need to do to make sure this works. That isn't in the documentation. So you need to go to the repository, and you need to go to the pipeline area. And well, you don't need to actually. You need to just run. There's these two scripts based on whether you're on a Unix or Windows based machine. You can run this batch or shell file, and I already have it installed, but I'll just run it. It basically just installs the node package in the right area, um, and all the associated add-ons and doohickeys that are used. Um, so make sure you run these scripts before doing the basic conversion with instancing, because otherwise it won't work. All right, so now that that's set up, um, it's really just the same thing. It's as simple. You just everything's set up. Yeah, this is all fine, and then we just press export again. And I guess I was running Visual Studio, but great. So that's considerably faster when there isn't as many textures to deal with in the Unity asset pipeline or to compress on export. So most of the time in computational power is used processing the textures. You'll see. So again, no errors. Looks good. And if we go back to MSA, see we just created this file, and it will have instanced geometry in it if you load it on into the XR engine. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. Instancing is the most important functionality of this exporter. You can also do box colliders, or I mean collision in general exports well from Unity. So if you're having trouble setting up the collision meshes in the editor, you can always set them up in Unity using the built-in collider system. You will, just for the sake of aesthetics, probably want to set the material for your collision meshes. Let's see, where is that? Here it is. There is a custom null material that's used, that's included in the repository project that you should put on all of your collision geometry. It basically tells the exporter to ignore the mesh if it's a box collider. and it basically just prevents extra draw calls. So yeah, you can basically place these how you would normally, um, and just I don't know, I'll just put a floor down. Yeah, that's fine. And then you again have to create a scene, a separate scene for the colliders. So court collision, and do the same sort of additive loading and partitioning workflow, and it's fine. And then when you want to export the collisions, you can set it up like so, and then you check colliders. None of these matter because if you check this basic GLTF converter, um, these are all for GLTF pack, and this changes to a different converter, so these are all ignored. For just tidiness sake, I'll disable all of these because they're not happening. So let's save these settings to this scene. Save settings as default. And then we can just, again, export. It's automatically has the output directory configured. And we'll see it is now again in the folder and setup. And so then you're free to take these and drag them in to the scenes in the editor. And yeah, they should be much more optimized. And they will have instancing as opposed to just the unoptimized, extremely inefficient assets that are exported directly from Blender.